Do you recognize this game? You're not alone. Since its release back in 1978, Space Invaders took the arcades and then the world by storm. Today, it's considered one of the most influential and greatest video games of all time. I'm part of a challenge named the 20 Game Challenge, in which you recreate 20 existing games. In this video, I'll show you how I remade Space Invaders in Godot. For the last two games, I started the projects by filling in a GDD. But recently, I learned more about rapid prototyping. So instead of defining the game too quickly, I will try to implement, test, tweak, and then repeat. This saved me a lot of time. And this time, I only created small GitHub issues with the instructions directly from the 20 Game Challenge page. After creating the project and setting it up, I made a main dark scene with 4 invisible walls. Then I started to build a player ship. I used a sprite sheet I found online with all the sprites I needed for the game, and you can control the ship using a mouse or a finger on touchscreen devices. In the original game, there were 3 types of aliens: octopus, crab, and squid. To spawn them, I made a script called Alien Row, which were responsible for 1 row of aliens. This was the first version of a small reusable component that will be named Spawner in the future, and together with a spawnable, it handles spawning and despawning. When the game starts, it will spawn 5 rows with 11 aliens on each row. They will start moving right and change direction when they collide with a wall, moving 1 step closer to the player each time. To shoot the aliens, I made a few more reusable components. The aliens have a destructible. When a destructor enters it, some damage is dealt and destroy the destructible. The bullet contains both a destructor and a projectile, which is extending the spawnable component. When the player shoots, the projectile is spawned and stored by a spawner. Thanks to components like these, it's easy to make the aliens shoot back, just by adding the ones I need. Based on a random timer, a red UFO should appear and cross the screen above the aliens. Just like the aliens, the UFO has a spawnable and a destructible. And I made a super small custom extension of the spawner. So pretty quickly, I had a bonus UFO appearing randomly. And I could even spawn in as many as I like with a dev tool I added. Pretty cool. Time for the UI. I added a score, best score, and life counter. If the player dies, a restart button appears, and if the player clears the screen, it resets after a few seconds. The player also loses instantly if the aliens reach the player's ship. After fixing some bugs, like this one, I added a main menu. I also added sound effects and music. And lastly, I added an icon, a splash screen, and exported the game. And now the game was done. Hey, hi, future me here. I was actually not done with the game here, and the same goes for all previous games I've made. In fact, right now you can see on my itch page that I've made a bunch more games, and they all have been reworked after I called them done. So why? Well, the short answer, copyright. In order to still have all these games public, I decided to replace all copyrighted materials and names. For some, like this one, it was minor things like modifying the assets and changing the name. But for others, like Jetpack Joyride, it was major rework. So I just want to add that explanation at the end here. But as always, you can play the game on itch, and the source code can be found on GitHub. Both are linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.